तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितमेन वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरो वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपां साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् सावधूतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिते नामिने नेमे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्यन्ते महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेमपदाय कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा तप्तकांचनि श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि प्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्ण. So last time we discussed the activities of demonic people from text number 10 to 18. So now from text number 19 to 22 we'll discuss about the consequence and the causes of demonic activities. So we'll discuss this. We already discussed the divine and demonic qualities. Then we also discussed the activities of demonic. And today we'll discuss text number 19 to 22. That is the consequence and the causes of demonic activities. So this is text number 19. तान् अहं दुषता क्रूरान् संसारेषु नराधमान् क्षिपामि अजस्रम् अशुभान् आसुरीषु एव योनिषु. So those who are envious and mischievous, who are lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of mortal existence into various demonic species of life. So this is where Krishna is speaking. What happens to these demonic people who have these demonic tendencies, demonic nature, demonic activities? So Krishna is saying, I cast them into lowest among men, into the lower species, into the demonic species of life. So they take birth into animal species, they take again birth into more demonic species, and they further continue their demonic activities and their demonic life. So like this, Krishna is speaking. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, as for the demonic, it is clearly said here that they are perpetually put into the womb of demons, and thus they continue to the envious, the lowest of mankind, Such demonic species of men are held to be always full of lust, always violent and hateful, and always unclean. So it is mentioned how that they take birth into the wombs of demons and they continue to be envious, lowest of mankind, and they are always full of lust, anger, hatred, violence, and unclean. So, like this is spoken here, what happens to these people. Then further, Krishna says, आश्रयोनिम् आपन्न मूढजन्मनि जन्मन् माम् अपरापेय कौन्तेय ततो यान्ति अधमां गतिम्. So Krishna is saying, attaining repeated birth among the species of demonic life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. So now one may have a question that then what is the hope for such people? So as Krishna is speaking in the previous verse also, that I cast them into the demonic wombs. And here it is mentioned that they keep taking birth like this in the demonic life. And they further increase their demonic activities and they further become more demonic and they can never approach me. So Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan had written very nice commentary on this to explain that he says, will those born in the wombs of Asuras become liberated at some time by your mercy after many births? These fools, having been born in demonic wombs, not attaining me at all, proceed to the wombs of the lowest creatures like dogs. Use of the word eva after aprapya indicates there is no possibility for them to get my mercy. A good birth suitable for practicing attaining the Lord is very rare. What to speak of this low birth? The Shruti also says, Atha kapuya charana avayaso ha yatte kapuyam yonim apayaderan so yonim va sukar yonim cha chandal yonim va. Those of bad conduct attain low birth, such as dogs, pigs, and chandalas, that is mentioned in Chandogya Upanishad. So here you see, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan is quoting that Lord is saying there is no possibility for them to get my mercy. A good birth suitable for practicing, attaining the Lord is very rare. Then what to speak of such people who have such low birth? And they have a lot of difficulty to have mercy of the Lord. But because you have the quality, having all your desires fulfilled, Satya Sankalpatvaha, you can make them qualified even if they are so unqualified. So he's saying that, okay, they may have this, but then you can make them qualified. So further, actually, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, he says that Krishna is neutral. Neither he favors anyone nor he hates anyone. Now, in case of these people, because they are becoming so demonic, so naturally, Krishna being neutral, he will not favor them also. Neither he hates nor he favors. So he will reciprocate as per their karma. So in that sense, they will never get mercy of the Supreme Lord. They'll keep degrading to the lower species of life. But there is one possibility that if they become very demonic, and suppose if the incarnation of the Lord happens to come here, and they are killed by the Lord Himself, so in that sense, they can get mercy of the Supreme Lord. If Lord personally comes, and these people they have become so demonic that naturally they takes demonic side. And Lord, one of the duty of the Lord is to establish dharma. So to establish dharma, the Lord may kill all these people who are on the demonic side. And being killed by the Lord, they can receive the mercy, and their all this demonic sinful karma can go because of the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, there is no other possibility for them to have mercy of the Lord. So then one may have a question that then what is the hope for such people? So as far as Krishna is concerned, it is a very little hope. Only if they become such high demons or such powerful demons that Krishna comes and kills them. Otherwise, another hope for them is the devotees of the Lord. If somehow other they come in the touch with the devotees of the Lord, then there is a possibility that they can change and then they can receive the mercy of the Lord. Otherwise, as far as the Lord is concerned, the system is made by such that Lord never favors anyone. Ye yathamam prapadyante. And Lord neither hates also anyone. But then devotees of the Lord, they are more merciful than the Lord. So if such a demonic people, they happen to come in touch with devotees of the Lord and if they surrender to any devotee of the Lord, then they can receive the mercy. Otherwise, it is very difficult. So we see our Vedic culture is very special, that Vedic culture is a very balanced culture. If somebody is over punishing someone, then that is a sign of lust. And if somebody is under punishing someone, then that is a sign of weak heartedness. So Vedic culture talks about appropriate punishment, appropriate reaction to a person for what he has done. So that's why Vedic culture is very compassionate also, but Vedic culture is very firm also. When it comes to someone who is going on the wrong direction, even after knowing about it. So then the Vedic culture is very firm also to give them right punishment for their reformation, for their betterment. At the same time, Vedic culture is compassionate also. The Vedic culture never entertains over punishing someone. So it's an art of punishment also. And only those who are very mature, they can understand this art of having a proper punishment for people as per their situation. We see that how in Mahabharata the story comes that the four people, they commit the same crime. And all these four, they were brought to Duryodhan and they were asked that to Duryodhan that what punishment should be given to all four of them. And Duryodhan said, kill all of them. Then they were surprised. So they asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, what do you say? What punishment should be given to all of them? So first Yudhishthira Maharaj asked that who are they? Tell me. So then he came to know one is a Brahmana, one is a Kshatriya, one is a Vaishya, one is a Sudra. So then Yudhishthira Maharaj told that the person who is a Sudra, to him, you give him some beating, and then after that, you can give him some strong words and then leave him because he is of low class. They can't understand much. Give some physical punishment and give some strong words and leave him. And this Vaishya, you should fine him heavily because Vaishya can understand the pain of money. So fine him heavily. And Satriya, insult him. Because Kshatriya, for him, insult is more worse than death. To insult him, speak ridiculing words to a Kshatriya. And he said, Brahmana, put him in the jail for whole life. Because he knows everything. He's supposed to guide society. He's supposed to represent society. So we see it is a very dynamic and very complex way to punish. So Krishna knows in a balanced way that how right punishment should be given to people so that they get the right punishment also and then they have opportunity to understand and reform also. So now in the text number, suppose after hearing all this, if somebody who is reading Bhagavad Gita and if he is of a demonic nature, then he may get a feeling that how to protect myself. If I continue the activities which I am doing, then I will fall into such demonic life. So then Krishna speaks the next verse that if you want to stop demonic life, then you have to stop these three things. Trividham narakasedam dwaram nasanam atmanam kamah krodhas tatha lobhas tasmat etatrayam tyadet. Krishna is saying, there are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give up these, for they lead to the degradation of soul. So if somebody after hearing the previous two verses feels that, Arey, how I can protect myself and save? So Krishna is saying that you have to give up these three things: lust, anger, and greed. These three are three gates leading to hell. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, a sane man who does not want to glide down to the species of demonic life must try to give up these three enemies which can kill the self to such an extent that there is no possibility of liberation from material entanglement. So Srila Prabhupada is saying a wise person should not want to glide down to the demonic species life. And for that, what he should do? He should give up these three enemies: lust, anger, and greed. If one gives up to these three enemies, lust, anger, and greed, then there is no possibility of liberation and he will surely entangle further in the real life. Then further, Krishna talks about these three things. एतेर्विमुक्तः कौन्तेय तमोद्वारे स्थिरभिः आश्रति आत्मनः श्रेयस् ततो याति परां गतिम्. The man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. So now, in the previous verse, Krishna is saying, if you want to protect yourself from demonic life, then stop these three things. And if you're able to stop these three things, lust, anger, and greed, then you can perform act conducive to self-realization. Otherwise, it is very difficult. So you will find, especially lust and greed, they are the constant theme in the Vedic scriptures that you have to control them. And the more you control them, to that extent, you are having more opportunity to practice a spiritual life. To that extent, your life becomes more conducive to self-realization. Otherwise, it is very difficult. And if one becomes slave to them, then further he will entangle and degrade. So Srila Prabhupada is writing beautiful purport. He is saying, one should be very careful of these three enemies: lust, anger, and greed. Then Prabhupada writes a very beautiful line. The more a person is freed from lust, anger, and greed, the more his existence becomes pure. And then he is able to follow the regulations, rules mentioned in the Vedas. And by following them, he can gradually rise himself to the platform of spiritualization. If one is so fortunate by such practice to rise to the platform of Krishna consciousness, then success is guaranteed for him. You see, what are the main leg pullers for a jiva in the material world? Lust, anger, and greed. If one can control them, then to that extent he can become pure. To that extent he can follow the rules and regulation. And to that extent he can perfect his life. In general, you will find a person takes to sinful life because of one of these three: lust, anger, greed. Sometimes because of lust, we see that a person may have extramarital affairs, or a person may have relationships before marriage or beyond marriage, because there is a strong gross tendency because of lust to enjoy, especially the opposite sex. So then the moment he has such a relationship, then he has to suffer. Then anger, we see if a person becomes very angry, then sometimes he does an act which is contrary to the scriptures. He may speak something which is contrary to scriptures. So that is anger. And then greed. Person, because of greed, he may take up to way and means to have more, not understanding that he is taking to sinful life. So lust, anger, and greed, they have a tendency to take a person to sinful life, and because of which then he further and further degrades like this. And then there is no possibility for him to improve or to achieve success. So Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan is saying, so the text 21 is saying, now those who after hearing of demonic nature leading to hell, if they want to avoid that demonic nature, then this verse answers that they have to avoid three things: lust, anger, and greed. And 22, the result of giving these three items is mentioned, that is, he becomes conducive for self-realization and he achieves self-realization and he perfects his life. So we see that how it is very important to understand these three prime demonic tendencies, or these three which are prime factors leading to sinful life. So they are lust, anger, and greed. So these are three prime factors leading to sinful life. These three are prime demonic natures because of which one degrades into demonic life. And we see in the whole world, especially in Kali Yuga, so much they are prominent and prevalent. In the Vedic time, at least there was a conserved culture. So there was not so much promotion of passion and lust. But nowadays, you see in Kali Yuga, practically all movies are based on lust. All, so many books are written promoting lust. And many times for people, their goal of life becomes to entertain their lust. So many contraceptives, so many other things are being manufactured to facilitate the lust of people. So we see that this tendency has been increased to such an extent. Nowadays we see so many rapes happening. Recently some news came that in some temple in South, I think, 100 ladies were raped and they were killed and buried also somewhere in the place. Nowadays we hear so many even father having some relationship with a daughter, or mother having some relationship with a son, or teacher having some relationship with a student, because this tendency has become very prominent, very prominent, very prominent. So first aspect is we have to understand that this is enemy, this is not my friend. That's why in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, Vidhi enam hi varinam. First you know that this is your enemy. The modern culture is such that these things are advertised and everyone feels that they are my friends, they'll make me happy. But Krishna is saying that first thing is you know that it is our enemy. Same way anger also. In the modern world, we see people they glorify. अरे ज़्यादा बहस कर रहा था मैंने एक लगाया. So he feels very proud of himself कि देखो मैं कितना अच्छी तरीके से एंगर को मैंने प्रस्तुत किया. But then those who read scriptures and those who understand, they can understand that actually I am becoming slave of anger. And the moment we become angry, the whole body becomes contaminated. And third is greed. Greed, you see in Kali Yuga practically every person is affected by this. Gone are those days where there were people who were satisfied with what they have. Now practically everyone is crying, everyone is wanting more, 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 more. Sometimes people they say that we are poor, but actually if you find now definition of poor also has changed. In India, you'll find even a small jhoparpatti, chawl, they also have a dish antenna. They also have smartphones. Everything is there. But now greed has increased so much, no matter how much people are getting, still they are poor. And you see how much greed has increased. Practically every person. Previously, people they would not work more than 8 hours. Now the people are ready to work 16 hours a day to get more to satisfy their greed. People are ready to spoil their health. People are ready to spoil their relationship to get more because of so much hankering. I want more. I want more. I want more. So these three are the enemies which Krishna is saying. And as devotees, we have to understand that I have to curb these three enemies. Otherwise, then my life also, to that extent, these enemies are. To that extent, my life also will be affected by the demonic nature. And to that extent, my life will not become conducive for self-realization. As devotees, we have to plan our life in a way where our life becomes more conducive for self-realization, where our life becomes more favorable for Krishna consciousness. And it will not if we are swayed by these three enemies. So, see, in a pure stage of jiva, actually it is love, but which is now has become lust. In pure stage of jiva, anger is actually compassion, and greed is spiritual greed. So when the jiva is pure, he has only love for Krishna. When jiva is pure, he has karuna bhav for everyone. He just want to love. He just want to serve everyone. And he has greed, but the greed is lawless. That is spiritual greed. He likes to serve Krishna more. He want to see Krishna more. He want to hear about Krishna more. But then these spiritual pure qualities of pure jiva, because of perverted reflection by coming in the material world, so now they have become lust, anger, and greed. So lust, anger, and greed can go when we actually develop love for the Lord, when we actually have a true compassion, where we genuinely want to help others, where we genuinely want to serve others. And instead of trying to control them, instead of trying to boss over them, instead of trying to exploit them, we have a genuine heart to help them. And then instead of having material greed, we have spiritual greed, like this. Then, Hare Krishna, Himanshu Prabhu, Hare Krishna. So this is one. But till we have love for the Lord, till then how we have to deal with lust? That is, we have a regulation in our life. Until we develop compassion, so how we deal with anger? So there are two things which are mentioned. One is and till we have a spiritual greed, how to deal with material greed? Satisfaction. So in pure stage, they will go when we have actual love, actual compassion, actual spiritual greed. But till then, Shastra says for sadhaka that okay, we have lust, and so then there is a principle of regulation. And in relation to anger, there is principle of delay or postpone or tolerate. And in relation to greed, there is a principle of satisfaction. Regulation. So there are one is one is no sex life. That is if someone becomes a brahmachari. Then there is a regulated sex life. That is a grast. In the regulated sex life also there are standards. The highest and the best standard is sex life only for producing children and Krishna conscious children. Then in Manu Samiti also some standards are mentioned. So they are first 20 years of married life. These are mentioned in Manu Samhita. As per the scriptures, these are two regulated way of dealing with lust for grastas. Apart from this, uh, the respective spiritual masters, as per the individual disciple, may give more relaxation. Otherwise, as per the scriptures A and B, but then we see like His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and those who wanted to take Diksha from him, especially Grastas. So they had to take a commitment of this also, that not more than once in a month, something like that is there. Those who are Grasta disciples of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, they will be knowing. So third is respective spiritual master may have certain relaxation as per the situation. So this is how Grasta is regulated. And third is prohibited. So this is considered this is mother and son, father and daughter, teacher and student. So these are considered as prohibited or extramarital relationships, like that. So a devotee has to see that how he practices the principle of regulation of lust so that he can purify this tendency. If you see our whole Vedic culture as a brahmachari, no sex life. Then for a grasta in a regulated way. Then again as a vanaprastha, no sex life. And then sannyasi, no question only. So you see the whole Vedic culture is that slowly, gradually you see how it is reduced. Why? Because whole material existence is mathun agara. No, whole material existence is going as mathun agar. That how people are entertaining this sexual life. Then is anger. So one is always delay or postpone, and second is tolerate. So you will always find any quick reaction in especially a provoking situation. If somebody goes for any quick reaction, then he will have a lot of difficulty. then most of the time the anger is disproportionate. The anger is over anger. And then he may have to pay the price. He may be very sorry later on because of what he has done or because what has happened. We had gone to one jail to distribute Srila Prabhupada books. So there we found one I.A.S. officer who was inside. This my hand, how it came up? Mhm. Okay. So this particular devotee, he was sharing. This person was sharing. We asked him that, "Arey, you were I.A.S. officer before. How you came in the jail?" So he said, "Actually, somehow or other I was a little disturbed. I came home and wife was doing cha 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 cha. So I suddenly became angry and I slapped her so hard that she died on the spot." So then he was lamenting, "I never wanted this, but I don't know what happened." So sudden reaction, sudden anger outburst, you always find will have a very severe consequence. Like this. So it is always better to delay and postpone, wait for some days, think about it. Say maybe see Dhruv Maharaj, when he came to know his brother Uttama, then he became extremely angry to an extent he went and wanted to wipe out all the yakshas. So sudden reaction like this, sudden situation like this, then they have a lot of difficulty. And then later on, they may uh, feel that, "Arey, why this happened? This should not have been happened," like that. So it is always a good practice. In the outside material world, they say whenever you become angry, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Principle is delay your response, postpone your response. In devotee circle, in training, in management, we are told, suppose you are very angry to some devotee because of some situation. So you can write email or you can write message, but don't send it. Compose it and keep it in draft. But don't send it. You may write, "Prabhu, आप ऐसे हो, आप ऐसे हो, आप ऐसे हो, आपने ये किया, वो किया, this is not good, you are like that." So after composing a draft, keep it for 3, 4 days and do your regular sadhana. Most of the cases you will find after 4 days, you will feel that there is no need to send such a mail. Because suddenly a person becomes very affected by the anger. Then later on, when he continues his regular spiritual life, then he is little calm and peaceful. Then he is not so much affected by it. So delay or postpone, this is a very good. Uh, Quick reaction is always a mundane reaction at our level. But when we delay or postpone, we allow our spiritual side to come in the front. We allow our spiritual consciousness to affect our decision. And if possible, we can consult also if it is a serious matter. And second is tolerate. See, so many things will come in the material world, but if you learn to some extent to tolerate, and to that extent will be least affected by them. Otherwise, the whole material world is such that there are so many situations which will provoke us. There are so many situations which will try to produce anger in us. But then, if we learn to some degree tolerate not getting so affected by the situations of this world, then we'll not become unnecessarily angry. Otherwise, we see, especially in Kaliga now, for small thing people become angry. Anywhere you go in society, you'll find people are fighting. Sometimes कोई small thing, आप आगे लाइन में क्यों चले गए? आपने ये क्या बोल दिया? आपने यहाँ क्या कर दिया? So small thing. There are some cities in India, some places in India, in a bus, the people will go and then the conductor will ask for money for ticket. And then suddenly some quarrel will happen and quarrel may go to such an extent that the people will put whole bus on fire only. And it may start with a small dealing of taking money for the ticket like that. So this anger is like that. So second is if we can tolerate, if we don't get too affected by the anger, situation will come, but then we tolerate like this. And third is greed. So for greed, we saw that it is very important to practice the principle of satisfaction. The more we practice this principle of satisfaction, then that much is very helpful for us. In Bhagavatam, so this is what happens if a person is asantushta. असंतुष्टस्य विप्रस्य तेजो विद्या तपो यशः स्रवन्ति इंद्रिय लोल्येन ज्ञानं चेवा क्रियते. Because of the greed for the sake of the senses, the spiritual strength, education, austerity, and reputation of a devotee or Brahmana who is not self satisfied dwindle and his knowledge gradually vanishes. To someone who does not have this material satisfaction, then his spiritual strength goes down, his education goes down, his austerity, his reputation as a devotee, and then his knowledge gradually vanishes like this. So it is very important to understand the principle of satisfaction. We see in general the material world is such and material things are such that if we don't try to be satisfied and if we don't try to control sense objects, then so much they increase that we will not be able to fathom also. There is a natural tendency to have more, and there is a natural attraction towards the sense object. So if we are not trying to practice the principle of satisfaction, then in no time we'll find we feeling to have so many sense objects, and then we are surrounded with so many sense objects. We all have heard that story of a disciple who was having only coping, and then later on we see coping, then cat, and then cow, then wife, then whole family, and then the spiritual life was gone. So we see that if we are not satisfied, especially in Kali we see so many schemes they launch. You take this on EMI, you take this on loan. Even the poor people, they purchase something which they don't have money for. And then they keep on working more hard to pay the loan back. And then further their desire increases and further they want to have more like this. So the satisfaction is very important to cultivate. The more we are satisfied, then that much we will be least affected by things of this world. In Bhagavatam, there is a verse in Balimara section that a person who is satisfied, he is like a person who is walking on the floor which is full of thorns, but the person has wore the shoes of satisfaction. So this material world is compared like a floor of thorns, and person having satisfaction is compared like a person who has wore the shoes of satisfaction. So now he's walking on this floor of thorns, but he's not getting pricked, he's not getting affected, he's not becoming unhappy. So that is the only principle. When Bali Maharaj, he told Lord Vamana that why you want 3 steps of land, you ask much more, I can give you. So then Lord Vamana Dev, he says, if a person is not satisfied with what he has, he will not be satisfied with no matter what you give him. And it is a very special principle. If we are not satisfied with what we have, no matter what we get, we'll never be satisfied. And that's how the nature of these sense objects are. That's how the nature of greed is. Lust, when satisfied, it becomes greed. Lust, when not satisfied, it becomes anger. So this greed and lust, they are in mode of passion, and anger is in mode of ignorance. That's why in lust and greed, there is a hankering. And whereas in anger, there is destruction. So that's why we have to see. Now, Chanakya, he says that one should be satisfied with three things. One is one's own wife. Second is food, which comes afford. Second is so he says one should learn to be satisfied with these three things. One's own wife, however is she. You see, even when Prabhupada was married to Radharani, and then he was not very happy because of some situation. So he thought, I want to have another marriage. And Srila Prabhupada expressed to his father, Gaur Mohan Dev, that my dear father, I don't like this girl. I want to have another girl in marriage. So you see the beauty of Gaur Mohan Dev. He said, Are you are very fortunate. If you don't have liking for your wife, that is very nice because you will not become attached. Why you want to remarry? Continue. So see, Vedic culture is so broad. You have a reason to be satisfied in every situation if you want to be. And material life have every reason that why you should not be satisfied. And spiritual life have every reason why you should be satisfied in no matter what situation God has arranged. And then he says, with three things, we should never be satisfied. So first he says is that we should not be satisfied with knowledge of the scriptures. So he says the more we have knowledge and more we should try to uh, get knowledge. We should try to read the scriptures. We should try to understand. Because the more we understand the scriptures and more we read the scriptures, they actually affect our consciousness. You see, when we are made to aware by reading the scriptures, we feel, my Lord, this is sin, this is not sin. And then we get more depth analysis, which is given in the scriptures. Then we get some examples in the scriptures. So then what happens? We develop this desire that now I want to improve. This knowledge increases our conviction. In fact, Srila Jiva Goswami says for a sadhaka, intellectual plane is a spiritual plane. You will find in our life also, whatever spirituality we are able to practice is because of whatever conviction is there in our intellect, in our intelligence. So the more we do, then slowly, gradually, makes a platform for us to develop our pure faith, to become pure, to practice spirituality. So one should not be lazy to understand the scriptures. Second thing he says, one should never be satisfied with holy name of the Lord. So the if you have extra time, chant more, chant more, chant more, like that. Here Holiness Navagena Swami Maharaj he says beautifully, he says, जब करके हद कर दे जिससे कि यमराज तुम्हारा खाता रद्द कर दे. Like that he sings. And third he says is charity. That one should not be satisfied with what charity he has given. He should try his best to give as much as possible. Like this. So this is about greed. Apart from this, Narottam Das Thakur also has given solution. So he says, Kam Krishna Karm Arpane, Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane, Lobh Sadhu Sange Hari Katha. So he says about lust that lust means creative energy. So one should try to do action for Krishna. Kam Krishna Karm Arpane. So, there are so many festivals. One can try to manage these festivals, or one should try to do some action for Krishna, some service for the Lord. He can preach for the Lord. He can do some service which is connected to the Lord. So in that way, Kam Krishna Karam Arpane. book distribution, preaching, temple management, festival management, like that, so many things are there. And then anger, krodha bhakta dveshi jane. Okay, you want to become angry, you can become angry on those who are opposing Krishna, who are blaspheming devotees. Then greed, lobha sadhu sange hari katha. You want to be greedy, greedy for sadhu sange hari katha, to hear in the association of devotees. For that, we can be greedy. We can look for opportunity where we can hear in the sadhu sangha. And there is one verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which also gives solution. Beautiful verse. So here, Krishna is this in Srimad Bhagavatam. This particular verse comes. Sankalpajat jayet kamam krodham kam vivarjana atha anarth vishaya lobham bhayam tattva vamarshana. So he's saying how one can conquer kama by making plans with determination. One should give up lusty desires for sense gratification. So what does it mean by making plan with determination? One can make a plan that okay, I have this weakness only once in 6 months. I will do this, or I will suppose somebody has a weakness to watch some dirty videos in the mobile, and he make a plan with determination that okay, I will not keep a smartphone, I will keep only button mobile, or I will have parental control in my laptop, and I will have restriction to visit any of dirty sites. So this is a meaning of plan with determination. One should make a plan with determination that this I will follow. I want to purify myself of this lusty desire. And those who want to take a brahmachari ashram, they have to have this determination. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, like on a Ekadasi day, we get a feeling to eat grains, but we don't eat grains. Why? Because we think that today I can't eat grains. I have taken a vow. So like for one day we take a Ekadasi vow to not eat grains, same way a brahmachari take a one life vow that I will not go for sex life. So like this, one can uh, conquer lust by making plan with determination. Then it is written by giving up envy, one can conquer anger. More we are affected by envy, then that much anger comes towards them, inside them. But the more we discuss, more we try to conquer envy, then we can conquer anger. And then further he's saying that by discussing the disadvantage of accumulating wealth, one can give up greed. So by discussing the disadvantage, how it brings, there is a chapter in 11th canto where even in Avadut Brahman section you'll find so many disadvantages of wealth are mentioned. So when we read these particular sections, then our craving to have more wealth, the greed, it reduces. And then by discussing the truth, one can give up fear. So like that, we see if we control these three propensities, lust, anger, and greed, then we can protect ourselves. Otherwise, very difficult, especially in Kali Yuga. The whole environment is so much surcharged with these propensities, these tendencies. There are songs written on this. There are monuments made on their name. There are books written on these. And everyone is talking about these anarthas. So we have to be very careful. So now, from 19 to 22, Krishna spoke about consequence and the causes. And consequences, they glide down to lower life and to hellish life, to demonic life. and one can protect if one can free himself from lust, anger, and greed. Now, in 23 and 24, these are two last verses. Krishna is saying, now you decide. In the sense, a person can choose whether he want to go for divine nature or demonic nature. यह शास्त्र विधिम उत्सज्य वर्तते काम कारतः न स सिद्धिम अवाप्नोति न सुखम न पराम गतिम. So he's saying, he who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. So he's saying because the prime parameter to distinguish between the demonic and divine people is that divine people they do everything as per the scriptures, demonic people they disregard the scriptures. So anyone who disregards the scriptures and acts whimsically, then neither they get happiness, nor they get perfection, nor they get supreme destination. And then the last verse. तस्मा शास्त्रं प्रमाणं ते कार्यकार्यव्यवस्थितो ज्ञात्वा शास्त्रविधानं प्रोक्तं कर्म कर्तुं यःसि. One should therefore understand what is duty, what is not duty. By the regulation of the scriptures and knowing such a regulation, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. So this is the conclusion. That first is you should know that what is the duty, what is not duty, what I can do, what I cannot do, what is divine, what is demonic. Then after doing so, we should try to mold our life in a way, we should try to plan our life in a way so that we can follow the scriptures, so that we can gradually be elevated. So this is how Krishna finally ends this particular chapter. This is divine and demonic nature. Hare Krishna. Any question anyone has, then they can ask. Yes, Dhananjay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, thank you very much for this wonderful lecture. Prabhuji, I had this question that many a times we read that by doing certain sinful activities or offenses, a person kills their soul, right? The word is used kill along with the soul. But if we see that a soul cannot be killed, I mean, on an elemental level, the soul cannot be killed. So what it actually means, I mean, the question is that the soul might get degraded, but after over a period of multiple lifetimes, they might again get a chance to practice spiritual things, and at that time they might get themselves elevated. So when the book says they kill the soul, what does that mean, and how does a devotee understanding this protect himself from this?
So see, this word comes Atmadha, that one is a killer of one's soul. So it is not in literal terms because soul is eternal, soul cannot be killed. But it is in a sense, then one loses the opportunity to revive his true nature of being a soul. So that's why it is mentioned that he is committing suicide. He is killing his own soul because he is losing an opportunity to revive the true nature of the soul. In that relation, it comes. And we as devotees, we have to see that how we align our life within the boundaries of the scriptures, and in that way we can elevate and eventually we can perfect. So you have to live our life as per the scriptures and practice devotion service. Then we can have elevation. Okay, Dhananjay Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I had just one more question. Like when we were talking about the standards of regulated sex life, in that one of the point that you mentioned was the relaxation given by the spiritual master as per the individual's nature. So in that from that perspective, I had this question that if certain relaxation is being given by spiritual master, but that's not I mean, if that relaxation is given by spiritual master, but since an activity is being performed, there might be some karma uh, in relation to that activity. So does the spiritual master in that case have to suffer for those activities? I mean,
No, no, see, the relaxation is given by the spiritual master within the married life only. So whatever he does, that will not come under sin, but naturally that will affect his spiritual progress. Because to the extent he becomes free from lust, to that extent his life becomes conducive for self-realization. And now, if a spiritual master finds that he is not at that level, so he may give some relaxation within his married life, and that will not take him to sinful life, but that naturally will take him further from spiritual life. Understood?
yes, yes, yes. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Those were the
Thank
questions.
you, Prabhu. Yes. Neelmani Yadav, Prabhu. Prabhuji, by offense, by our demonic nature, bhakti sukrati reduces or not. Laziness and oversleep comes in demonic nature or not. So see what happens is whatever bhakti sukriti we have, it can never reduce. Bhakti sukriti and anything related to bhakti is eternal. But naturally, the demonic natures they will cover that bhakti, and then they will not allow us to practice that bhakti. And then we may fall back into the cycle of birth and death. Then we may suffer. And this divine and demonic nature, they increases more, as you are saying, especially when we offend devotees of the Lord, when we are offensive to God in terms of not following Vedic scriptures, then the demonic nature increases more. And if we are trying to align ourselves with devotees and the Lord and the scriptures, then our divine nature increases more. And laziness and oversleep come in demonic nature or not. See, laziness and oversleep, they all are in tamoguna. So all things which are in tamoguna and in rajoguna, they come more or less in the demonic nature. But if we are trying to overcome them with the help of devotion service, with the help of scriptural regulations, then we are making a transition from demonic side to divine side. So then will not be called demonic nature. What about offenses to pure devotees? It reduces our bhakti sukrati or it will remain? See, it will cover, even though we may offend a pure devotee, like Jay and Vijay, they offended four Kumaras. So they became demon. But their devotion service remained as it is. After those 3 lives as demons, they again went to Vaikuntha and again they had same love for the Lord. Okay, yes, Tanis Guru.
हरे कृष्णा गुरु। मुझे ये आप बता रहे थे कि जो थ्री थिंग्स वी शुड नेवर बी सेटिस्फाइड विद, तो उसमें नॉलेज ऑफ स्क्रिप्चर्स, जैसे कभी कभी हम लोग सुनते हैं कि कुछ जैसे पास टाइम सुनते हैं या कुछ ऐसे हम लोग एक बार दो बार सुन चुके होते हैं, तो जब वापस से वो डिस्कस हो रहे होते हैं तो हमारे मन में थॉट आता है कि अरे ये तो मैं सुन चुका हूँ, तो उस टाइम कभी कभी हम लोग लेजी हो जाते हैं या मतलब ध्यान से नहीं सुनते हैं, तो उसके लिए प्रति आप कुछ बताएं।
हाँ, एक्चुअली क्या है, अगर हम शास्त्रों को एकेडमिकली पढ़ेंगे तो उनको वन टाइम पढ़ने के बाद दूसरी बार पढ़ने में मुश्किल होगा। तो शास्त्रों को एकेडमिकली पढ़ने की जगह वी हैव टू टेक शेल्टर ऑफ द स्क्रिप्चर्स. So we should read that this is the instruction of the Lord, this is the money of the Lord, these are the stories of pure devotees, so let me take shelter of them. तो एक तो ये एटीट्यूड एकेडमिक एटीट्यूड नहीं रहना चाहिए, शेल्टर वाला एटीट्यूड रहना चाहिए जब हम स्क्रिप्चर्स को पढ़ते हैं. दूसरा है, स्क्रिप्चर्स को जस्ट एज ए इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं पढ़ना चाहिए. वी शुड ट्राई टू गो डीप एंड ट्राई टू लर्न, अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज सेड, हाउ इट इज सेड. Third is we should try to apply what we are reading. When you apply what you are reading, then that particular knowledge becomes very fresh. It remains very fresh and it becomes very live in your consciousness. And fourth is we should try to share it with others. So when you try to speak and repeat what you are reading, what you are hearing, that also helps you to have more appreciation for the Vedic knowledge. So if you do this, then it will help you grow.
ओके, थैंक यू।
Okay, so thank you very much, all devotees, for taking your time and coming. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai.